Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast Adventures. I'm Michael.
And I'm Sophia. Michael, I have to say, the response to our last IELTS episode has been absolutely incredible.
It really has been, Sophia. We've had so many messages from viewers asking for more detailed speaking practice. And you know what? Today, we're delivering exactly that.
That's right. Today's episode is specifically designed for anyone preparing for the IELTS speaking test. And Michael, we're not just talking about tips. We're actually going to demonstrate the entire speaking test.
Exactly, Sophia. So here's what's going to happen today. We'll do complete, natural role plays of all three parts of the IELTS speaking test. Part 1, the friendly introduction. Part 2, the long turn where you speak for 2 minutes. And Part 3, the deeper discussion.
And after each role play, we'll break down everything for you. We'll explain the vocabulary we used, the phrases that can boost your score, and most importantly, how to structure your answers effectively.
Now, if you're watching this, you absolutely need to stick around until the very end because Sophia has a game-changing tip for managing your nerves during Part 2 that most test takers never hear about.
Michael, you're giving away my secrets. But seriously, that tip at the end could be the difference between a band 6 and a band 7.
Before we jump in, Sophia, we have some exciting news to share with our community.
We do. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, that would be a dream come true for us. Each subscriber means we can help more English learners achieve their goals.
So if today's episode helps you in any way, please hit that like button and subscribe. It genuinely makes such a huge difference for us. All right, Michael, are you ready to become an IELTS examiner?
I've been practicing my serious examiner voice all morning, Sophia. Let's start with part 1.
Good morning. My name is Michael, and I'm your examiner today. Could you please tell me your full name?
Good morning. My name is Sophia Chen.
Thank you, Sophia. And what shall I call you?
You can call me Sophia, please.
Perfect. Now, could you tell me where you're from?
I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. It's a vibrant, multicultural city in the eastern part of the country, and I've lived there for most of my life.
That sounds wonderful. Do you work or are you a student?
I'm currently working as a marketing coordinator for a tech startup. It's quite demanding, but I find it incredibly rewarding because I get to work on creative campaigns and analyze consumer behavior.
That's interesting. Do you enjoy your job?
I absolutely love it, actually. What appeals to me most is the variety. One day I might be brainstorming social media content, and the next day I'm presenting to potential clients. The fast-paced environment really suits my personality, and I feel like I'm constantly learning new skills.
That's great to hear. Now, let's talk about hobbies. What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I'm quite passionate about photography, particularly landscape photography. I try to get out into nature whenever possible, maybe once or twice a month, to capture different seasons and lighting conditions. There's something therapeutic about being outdoors with just my camera and really observing the natural world.
Do you think hobbies are important for people?
Oh, definitely. I think hobbies are essential for maintaining work-life balance. They provide a creative outlet and help you decompress from daily stress. Plus, hobbies often connect you with like-minded people. Through my photography group, I've met some of my closest friends.
Perfect, Sophia. That was excellent.
Thanks, Michael. Now, let's break this down for everyone watching.
The key to part 1 is expansion without going overboard.
Absolutely right, Sophia. Notice how you didn't just say, I'm from Toronto. You said, I'm originally from Toronto. Canada. It's a vibrant, multicultural city. You gave location, then added one descriptive detail.
Exactly. And let's look at some vocabulary I used. When I said vibrant multicultural city, vibrant means full of life and energy.
Great example. Another phrase I loved was incredibly rewarding. Sophia, can you explain this one? Of course. Incredibly rewarding means very satisfying or worthwhile. You could say, learning a new language is incredibly rewarding because it opens up new opportunities. It's perfect for IELTS because it shows you can express positive feelings strongly.
And notice the structure Sophia used for the job question. She didn't just say, I like my job. She said, I absolutely love it, then explained why with what appeals to me most is.
That's such an important pattern. Instead of simple answers, give your opinion, then support it with reasons. I love it because, or what appeals to me is, or the thing I enjoy most is.
Now here's a crucial tip for part 1 structure. For each question, try this pattern. Direct answer, then one reason or example, then maybe a personal connection. Don't speak for more than 30 to 45 seconds per question.
Perfect advice, Michael. Like when you asked about hobbies, I said, I'm passionate about photography. That's my direct answer. Then particularly landscape photography. That's the specific detail. Then I explained when and why I do it.
And Sophia used some fantastic phrases for expressing frequency. She said, whenever possible, and maybe once or twice a month. These are much better than just sometimes.
Right. Other good frequency phrases are on a regular basis, from time to time, or more often than not.
Before we move to part 2, let's talk about one more key phrase. Sophia said something was therapeutic. What does this mean?
Therapeutic means healing or relaxing for your mind and body. For example, I find cooking therapeutic after a stressful day at work. It's a sophisticated way to describe activities that help you feel better.
Brilliant. Now let's see a complete part 2 performance. Sophia, are you ready for your 2-minute challenge? Now I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Here's your topic.
Thank you.
Describe a place you visited that made a big impression on you. You should say where this place was, when you visited it, what you did there, and explain why this place made such a big impression on you.
Okay, I've got my notes ready.
All right, remember you have 1 to 2 minutes. I'll tell you when the time is up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please start speaking now.
I'd like to talk about Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada, which I visited about 2 years ago during the summer. This place absolutely took my breath away and remains one of the most spectacular locations I've ever experienced. I went there with my family for a week-long camping trip. We stayed at a campground near Lake Louise, which is famous for its stunning turquoise waters. During our stay, we did quite a variety of activities. We hiked several trails, including the popular Lake Agnes Trail, where we saw incredible mountain views and even spotted some wildlife like elk and mountain goats. We also went canoeing on the lake, which was incredibly peaceful, and I spent hours taking photographs of the dramatic mountain peaks reflected in the crystal clear water. What made this place so memorable for me was the sheer scale and beauty of the natural landscape. The Rocky Mountains seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction, and the colors were absolutely magnificent. The deep blues of the lakes, the emerald greens of the forests, and the snow-capped peaks gleaming white against the bright blue sky. But beyond just the visual beauty, there was something deeply spiritual about being in such an untouched natural environment. I think what impressed me most was how small and humble it made me feel. In our daily lives, we get so caught up in technology and urban stress, but standing there surrounded by mountains that have existed for millions of years really puts things into perspective. It reminded me of the importance of preserving these natural spaces for future generations. Even now, whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed, I close my eyes and picture those mountain reflections in Lake Louise, and it immediately calms me down.
Thank you. That's the end of the 2 minutes. Sophia, that was absolutely perfect. You hit every single point on the cue card and your timing was spot on.
Thank you, Michael. Now, let's break down how I structured that answer, because structure is everything in part 2.
Absolutely. Sophia, you started by paraphrasing the question. Instead of just saying, I want to talk about Banff, you said, I'd like to talk about Banff National Park, which absolutely took my breath away. That's sophisticated language right from the start.
Exactly. And notice I immediately gave the location and time frame. Alberta, Canada, and about 2 years ago during the summer. Always establish the basic facts quickly.
Then you followed a really smart organization pattern. You covered where and when first, then what you did, then why it was impressive. Let's look at some of your fantastic vocabulary.
Great idea. Let's start with took my breath away. This means something was so beautiful or surprising that it amazed you completely. For example, the view from the top of the mountain took my breath away. It's perfect for describing impressive experiences.
And you said the mountains stretched endlessly. Can you explain this phrase?
Of course. Stretched endlessly means extended as far as you could see, seemingly without limit. You might say the desert stretched endlessly under the hot sun. It creates a vivid picture of vast spaces.
I loved your color descriptions. Turquoise waters, emerald greens, snow-capped peaks. These specific color words are so much better than just blue or green.
Yes! Advanced color vocabulary really impresses examiners. Turquoise is blue-green like tropical water. Emerald is bright green like the precious stone. Always try to use specific, descriptive words rather than basic ones.
Now let's talk about how you concluded. You didn't just stop talking, you connected the experience to your present life. You said it puts things into perspective and helps you when you're feeling overwhelmed.
That's such an important technique, Michael. Always try to connect past experiences to present feelings or future plans. It shows you can link ideas across time, which is a high-level skill.
And that phrase, puts things into perspective. What does this mean?
Puts things into perspective means helps you see the relative importance of different things, or helps you understand what really matters. For example, talking to my grandmother about her childhood puts my problems into perspective.
Brilliant. And one more phrase, you said the environment was deeply spiritual. This means connected to your inner feelings and sense of meaning, like not necessarily religious, like I find meditation deeply spiritual.
Perfect explanation. Now, here's a crucial time management tip. Notice I spent about 30 seconds on each main point: where and when, what I did, and why it was impressive. This helps you avoid running out of time.
And Sophia, you used some excellent connecting phrases. During our stay, what made this place memorable, but beyond just the visual beauty, these phrases guide the listener through your ideas smoothly.
Exactly. Transition phrases are essential for coherence. Other good ones are moving on to, another thing that struck me was, or looking back on it now.
Before we continue to part 3, I just want to remind everyone, if you're finding this helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps more people discover these detailed IELTS lessons. Examiner voice, we've been talking about a place that made an impression on you, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this topic. First, do you think tourism has a positive or negative effect on places like national parks?
That's a fascinating question, and honestly, I think it's a bit of both. On the positive side, tourism generates crucial funding for conservation efforts. The entrance fees and tourism revenue help maintain trails, protect wildlife habitats, and fund research programs. Without these resources, many national parks couldn't survive financially. However, there are definitely negative impacts too. Overcrowding can damage fragile ecosystems, and some tourists, unfortunately, don't follow leave no trace principles. I've seen people littering or getting too close to wildlife, which disrupts natural behaviors. I'd say the key is sustainable tourism management. Parks need to limit visitor numbers during peak seasons and invest heavily in education programs that teach people how to visit responsibly.
That's a very balanced perspective. How do you think we can encourage more responsible tourism?
I think education is absolutely fundamental. Before people even arrive at a park, they should receive information about proper etiquette. Things like staying on designated trails, keeping wildlife at a safe distance, and packing out all trash. I'd also highly recommend implementing a permit system for popular areas. This not only limits environmental damage, but also enhances the visitor experience because you're not competing with hundreds of other people for the perfect photo spot. Another compelling approach would be to promote lesser-known destinations. Instead of everyone flocking to the same famous locations, tourism boards could highlight hidden gems that can handle more visitors without environmental damage.
Do you think people's relationship with nature has changed in recent years?
Absolutely, and I think it's changed in complex ways. On one hand, urbanization and technology have created more distance between people and nature. Many children today spend more time indoors with screens than exploring outdoors, which is quite concerning. But paradoxically, I think there's also been a growing awareness of environmental issues. Climate change and social media have made people more conscious of nature's fragility. You see this trend in ecotourism, sustainable living movements, and the popularity of outdoor activities like hiking and camping. The challenge is translating that awareness into meaningful action and genuine connection with the natural world, rather than just Instagram-worthy experiences.
Excellent work, Sophia.
Thanks, Michael. Now, part 3 is where you can really showcase sophisticated thinking and advanced language skills.
Absolutely right. Notice how Sophia didn't give simple yes or no answers. For the first question about tourism effects, she immediately said, "I think it's a bit of both," then explained both sides thoroughly.
Exactly. Part 3 is about showing you can discuss complex issues from multiple perspectives. I used phrases like on the positive side and however. There are definitely negative impacts too. These show balanced thinking.
Let's break down some key vocabulary. Sophia, you mentioned sustainable tourism management. Can you explain this concept?
Great question. Sustainable means able to continue long-term without causing damage. So sustainable tourism means tourism that doesn't harm the environment or local communities. For example, the city implemented sustainable tourism policies to protect its historical sites.
And you used some excellent phrases for making recommendations. You said, "I'd highly recommend," and another compelling approach would be,
Those are perfect for part 3. Instead of just saying, I think people should, use stronger recommendation language. I'd strongly suggest. One effective strategy would be, or it would be beneficial to. These sound more academic and confident.
I loved how you said something was absolutely fundamental. This means extremely important or essential. Like, good communication is absolutely fundamental for teamwork.
Yes, and notice I didn't just give recommendations, I supported them with reasons. When I suggested permit systems, I explained why. This not only limits environmental damage, but also enhances the visitor experience because you're not competing with hundreds of other people for the perfect photo spot.
That's crucial for high scores. Always support your opinions with logical reasoning. And Sophia used great connecting phrases, not only but also, instead of, another compelling approach.
Right. And for the last question about people's relationship with nature, I showed I could discuss contrasting trends. I used on one hand and but paradoxically, to show different sides of a complex issue.
Paradoxically is such a sophisticated word. It means surprisingly opposite to what you'd expect. Like, paradoxically, spending more money on quality items often saves money in the long run.
Exactly. And I ended with a thoughtful conclusion about translating awareness into meaningful action. This shows I can think beyond surface-level observations to deeper implications.
For Part 3 structure, remember, give your position clearly, provide evidence or examples, acknowledge other viewpoints when relevant, and conclude with implications or recommendations.
Perfect summary, Michael. And use tentative language sometimes. I tend to think, it seems to me that, or from my perspective, these sound more natural and academic than being too definitive about complex issues.
Now, everyone, we promised you a special bonus tip, and we're almost there. But first, if this detailed breakdown has been helpful, please hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers.
All right, here's the bonus tip that Michael mentioned earlier, and this could genuinely transform your Part 2 performance.
I'm listening, Sophia.
All right, to the camera, guys. The secret is something I call the confidence pause. Most test takers panic when they can't think of what to say next, and they fill silence with or But here's what you should do instead. When you need a moment to think, pause confidently and take a breath.
Can you demonstrate this?
Absolutely. Instead of saying, I think the place was beautiful because, try this. This place was remarkable for several reasons. First, the natural beauty was absolutely stunning.
That pause actually makes you sound more thoughtful and in control.
Exactly. The examiner will think you're organizing your thoughts professionally, not that you're struggling to find words. Practice this technique and your fluency score will improve dramatically.
That is genuinely game-changing advice, Sophia. I wish I'd known that when I was taking language tests.
So let's recap what we covered today. We demonstrated all three parts of the IELTS speaking test with realistic examples, then broke down the vocabulary, phrases, and strategies that can boost your band score.
We showed you how to expand Part 1 answers without talking too much, how to structure and time Part 2 responses perfectly, and how to handle complex Part 3 discussions with confidence.
And remember, the key to IELTS speaking success is practice, but it has to be the right kind of practice. Don't just memorize answers, work on natural conversation skills and sophisticated vocabulary.
Speaking of practice, we have so many more IELTS episodes planned. We're going to cover writing task 1, reading strategies, listening tips, everything you need for test success.
But we can only create more content like this with your support. We're incredibly close to 1,000 subscribers, and every subscription genuinely helps us reach more English learners who need this kind of detailed instruction.
So please, if today's episode helped you in any way, hit that like button and subscribe. And here's what I want you to do next. There should be another IELTS video appearing on your screen right now. Click on that and keep practicing.
All right, thanks so much for watching English Podcast Adventures. Keep practicing, stay confident, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Until next time, keep learning and keep growing. Bye, everyone.